the Fatima Prophecies and the Russia question. Disclaimer. This video is presented for educational, historical, and analytical purposes only. It explores widely debated historical and religious prophecies, including various interpretations and associated political and historical speculations. The views presented are a journalistic analysis of a complex topic. Welcome, friends. Today, I'm going to tell you a story that will change your perspective on the 20th century. It's a story about a secret that has been kept hidden for 83 years. About 3 secrets given to children in a small Portuguese village. And about a prophecy concerning Russia that many believe has never been truly fulfilled. Did you know that there's a prophecy that the church hierarchy has been afraid to reveal for over 8 decades? A prophecy that reportedly spoke of an assassination attempt on the Pope, the fall of communism, and a nation that had to be publicly consecrated. But was it? For years, we've been told one version of events. But when we look closely at the historical records, the archival documents, and the testimonies of witnesses, we uncover a fascinating and complex truth. Settle in. This will be a long journey through history's hidden mysteries. Fatima 1917. The beginning. May 13, 1917. World War I is raging in Europe. Millions are dying in the trenches. And in the small Portuguese village of Fátima, 3 simple children are tending sheep. Lucia dos Santos, 10. Francisco Marto, 9. Jacinta Marto, 7. Children from humble, illiterate, and devout families. Suddenly, over a small oak tree in a place called Cova da Iria, a blinding flash appears. The children are terrified, but they see a figure, a beautiful lady dressed in white, brighter than the sun. "Don't be afraid, I won't hurt you, I am from heaven," the figure says. The children recognize her as Mary, the mother of Jesus. This was the first of 6 apparitions. Always on the 13th of the month, from May to October 1917. Thousands of people would later come to these meetings. Journalists, skeptics, and the faithful. They all witnessed strange phenomena in the sky, a spinning sun, shifting colors, and lights. But there were also secrets. Things the children were forbidden to tell anyone. Mary gave them 3 secrets. 3 prophecies. The first and second secrets were written down and revealed in the 1940s. But the third secret, that was sealed away in a Vatican vault. And it wasn't released for over half a century. The 3 secrets. The first secret, a vision of suffering. On July 13, 1917, the children received a vision that terrified them for life. They saw an ocean of fire. Demons in terrifying shapes. Human souls are drowning in the flames, crying out in despair. Suffering without end. Mary explained. This was a vision of hell, where the souls of those who die in mortal sin go. The young children wept for days after this vision. It was something they couldn't unsee. Shift tone. More political. The second secret. Russia and the prophecy of war. Now, pay close attention. This is where the most critical part of our story begins. Mary told the children, "You have seen hell, where the souls of poor sinners go. If people do not cease to offend God, a worse war will begin during the pontificate of Pius XI." Remember, this is 1917. The First World War is still ongoing. And Mary is speaking of a second, worse war. When you see a night illuminated by an unknown light, know that this is the great sign given you by God that He is about to punish the world for its crimes by means of war, famine, and persecutions. And then, she speaks of Russia. "To prevent this, I shall come to ask for the consecration of Russia to my Immaculate Heart. If my requests are fulfilled, Russia will be converted, and there will be peace. If not, Russia will spread her errors throughout the world, causing wars and persecutions of the Church." Shift tone to fascination. And now listen very carefully. Because what happened 21 years later is absolutely incredible. The unknown light. January 25 to 26, 1938. Dramatic pause. The night of January 25 to 26, 1938. All of Europe awoke to a terrifying sight. Starting around 10 p.m., the sky began to blaze. Literally blazing with red light. Shift to a more exciting tone. This was no ordinary aurora borealis, friends. This was a phenomenon never before witnessed on this scale. The scale of the phenomenon, half a hemisphere. The light was visible, from northern Scotland across all of Europe, to southern Sicily and Gibraltar. In Portugal, exactly where Mary appeared in Fatima. In Canada, the far north, as far south as Southern California and Bermuda, even in Southern Australia, half the globe saw this light. What people saw. Colors ranging from yellow-orange to blood red, from bright green to violet. But the red was dominant. A blood red hue. In Switzerland, you could read a newspaper by the light, it was that bright. The snow-covered peaks of the Alps reflected the aurora's rays, creating what felt like a gigantic light show in the sky. Panic across Europe, shift to a more dramatic tone. And now, the most important part, people's reactions. London. People thought the entire city was on fire. Guards at Windsor Castle called the fire department, convinced that Windsor Castle was burning down. Paris. Alarm bells rang frantically that night. Fire departments constantly sounded new alarms, trying to calm citizens. The loud ringing only intensified the panic. Some residents fled Paris for rural areas, thinking it was the end. Portugal. Entire villages ran out of their homes in terror, fearing the end of the world. Remember, it was in Fatima that Mary foretold this unknown light. Switzerland. Thousands of calls to authorities asking, is it a fire? Is it war? Is it the end of the world? World press. The next day, January 26, 1938, global newspapers screamed. Northern lights disrupt radios, frighten Europeans, main press herald. Aurora borealis startles Europe, people flee, call the firemen, New York Times. Why it wasn't a normal aurora. Scientists tried to label it an aurora borealis. But Sister Lucia, the Fatima visionary, never accepted this. Why? Because. Location. Auroras occur in the North Pole, rarely below 50 degrees latitude. This phenomenon was seen in Portugal, Bermuda, and southern Australia. Color. Auroras are usually green. This was red, blood red. Appearance. Auroras do not look like a gigantic fire. This looked exactly like the world in flames. Sister Lucia wrote in her diary, Your Excellency, you are aware of how a few years ago God showed that sign, which astronomers wanted to call an aurora borealis. She knew. This was the light, the unknown light of the prophecy. The dramatic coincidence. And now, listen to this. On that very night, January 25 to 26, 1938, as the sky blazed over Europe, inside Moscow's Lubyanka prison, Stalin's chief interrogator was questioning a man named Christian Rakovsky. And during that interrogation, Rakovsky revealed a German plan to dominate Europe. He proposed that the Soviet Union join Germany in an invasion of Poland. This interrogation began exactly as the unknown light in the sky was fading. A coincidence? Perhaps. What happened next? March 1938. 2 months after the unknown light, Hitler annexes Austria. September 1938, the Sudetenland crisis. August 1939, the red light appears again. Adolf Hitler sees it from his Berghof. Albert Speer recorded in his memoirs, Hitler and I stood on the terrace and admired the rare phenomenon. An exceptionally bright aurora borealis bathed the legendary Untersberg in red light for a full hour. September 1, 1939. World War II erupts. Everything aligned, exactly as Mary predicted in Fatima 21 years earlier. When you see a night illuminated by an unknown light, know that this is the great sign given to you by God. And the world saw it. But it did not understand. The third secret. Sister Lucia, the only one of the 3 children who lived to adulthood, wrote down the third secret in 1944. At the command of her bishop. 1 sheet of paper. About 25 lines. The document reached the Vatican in 1957. According to the arrangements made with Mary, the secret was supposed to be revealed no later than 1960. But the church hierarchy remained silent. Year. 1960 silence. 1970, silence. 1980, silence. 1990, silence. Decade after decade, why was the truth hidden from the faithful? Speculation ran wild. It was said the third secret foretold the end of the world. Armageddon, nuclear war, apostasy within the church. It wasn't until the year 2000, listen carefully, 40 years after the deadline, that Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger revealed the content. It was a vision of a bishop clothed in white, the Pope, walking through a ruined city full of corpses and being killed by bullets from soldiers. The hierarchy concluded that this was the prophecy of the assassination attempt on Pope John Paul II in 1981. But was that the whole truth? We'll return to this in a moment. The 1981 assassination attempt. Shots in Rome. May 13, 1981. St. Peter's Square in Rome. A sunny day. Thousands of people. Pope John Paul II, Karol Wojtyla, the Polish Pope, is driving through the crowd in an open white car, greeting the faithful. 1717 local time. Mehmet Ali Agca, a 23-year-old Turkish assassin. Standing in the crowd, he pulls out a 9mm Browning pistol. He fires 4 shots from a distance of just a few feet. Bang, 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 bang. 2 bullets hit the Pope. One passes through his abdomen. The other through his hand. The first bullet missed the aorta by mere millimeters. Doctors at Gemelli Hospital later stated plainly, it was a medical miracle. The Pope should have died. John Paul II himself later said, it was a hand that shot, and another hand that guided the bullet. Initially, Agca was said to have acted alone. A mad terrorist, a member of the Turkish organization, the Grey Wolves. But the Italian judge, Ferdinando Imposimato, led the investigation. And he discovered much more. The KGB trail. Agca began to testify. He said the assassination attempt was ordered by the Bulgarian secret services. Bulgaria, a satellite republic of the USSR. Nothing happened there without Moscow's approval. Sergei Antonov, a Bulgarian diplomat in Rome, was arrested as a co-conspirator. Documents later suggested the KGB's involvement in planning the operation. Why did Moscow want the death of the Polish Pope? It's simple. John Paul II was a threat to the entire Eastern Bloc. His pilgrimage to Poland in 1979, just a year after his election, awakened the hopes of millions of Poles. Do not be afraid, he cried out in Victory Square in Warsaw. 1 million people listened. Poles felt their strength. A year later, Solidarity was formed. The first independent trade union in the Eastern Bloc. The Pope supported Solidarity. The Kremlin saw the danger. Months before the attempt, KGB chief Yuri Andropov wrote a report to leader Leonid Brezhnev. Quoting from documents later revealed, the Polish Pope poses a serious threat to the stability of the Eastern Bloc. Decisive action must be taken. Decisive action. And suddenly, on May 13, 1981, 4 shots in St. Peter's Square. Although Moscow's direct order was never formally proven in court, because the KGB doesn't leave documents with their signature, all the evidence points to the Soviet espionage machine. And remember, it was Russia that was named in the Fatima Prophecy as the country that would spread her errors. A coincidence? Perhaps. Or perhaps something more. The consecration of Russia. Did it happen? Let's recall the exact words of Mary from 1917. To prevent war and convert Russia, I shall come to ask for the consecration of Russia to my Immaculate Heart by the Pope, in union with all the bishops of the world. This was a very specific request. Not vague, not symbolic. Russia had to be mentioned by name. The Pope had to perform it, together with all the bishops simultaneously. It was intended to be a public, worldwide event. Did it happen? Let's check the facts. 1942 The first attempt. October 31, 1942. World War II is at its peak. Pope Pius XII consecrates the world and Russia. The problem: Russia was not explicitly mentioned by name. The bishops were not asked to participate simultaneously. 1984 The fifth attempt, the most relevant. March 25, 1984. John Paul II performs a solemn consecration of the world in St. Peter's Square. This time, he invites the bishops to co-participate. He says, in a special way, I entrust and consecrate to you those nations and peoples who have a special need of this entrustment and consecration. He did not say Russia. He did not say Soviet Union. He used a euphemism. Those nations, who have a special need. Shift tone to questioning. Why? Throughout all these attempts, through 5 different acts, why was Russia never mentioned directly? The official answer from the hierarchy: they feared Moscow's reaction. During the Cold War, openly naming Russia could have provoked even greater repression against Catholics in the Eastern Bloc. But let me ask the question: does the fear of the communists justify the non-fulfillment of a specific request from an apparition? Can it be said that the condition was met when the country that was supposed to be consecrated was deliberately avoided by name? In 1989, Sister Lucia, the last living visionary, reportedly confirmed to Vatican representatives that the 1984 consecration had been accepted by heaven. However, there was never an official, public document to this effect. No written confirmation from Sister Lucia, only verbal assurances from the hierarchy. And so the question remains, was Russia truly consecrated according to what Mary requested? The Pope barred from Russia. Saint John Paul II, Karol Wojtyla, was the pilgrim pope. He visited 129 countries. He traveled to Africa, Asia, America, Oceania, everywhere. But there was one place he could never enter. The place he most longed to visit. Russia. Moscow is waiting. From the moment I became pope, I have been waiting for an invitation to Russia, he said in a 2002 interview, 3 years before his death. Throughout his 27-year pontificate, he repeatedly asked for an invitation. Repeatedly made it known that he wanted to come. The invitation never came. Why? The official version from the Russian Orthodox Church, Patriarch Alexei II, explained that a visit by the Pope could cause interreligious tensions. He accused the Catholic Church of proselytism, attempts to convert the Orthodox. But after the KGB archives were opened, a different truth emerged. Patriarch Alexei II collaborated with the Soviet Special Services for years under the codename Drozdev. His career, his position, everything depended on his loyalty to the state. A visit by the Pope, especially the Polish Pope who contributed to the collapse of communism, was unacceptable to the Kremlin. And so, Russia remained closed. Even after the fall of the USSR in 1991. Even after the borders opened. Even in the new Russia of Boris Yeltsin, and later Vladimir Putin. The doors remained closed. Saint John Paul II died on April 2, 2005, without fulfilling his dream. His successors, Benedict XVI, Francis, also did not receive an invitation to Russia. To this day, no pope has ever visited Russia. Symbolic, isn't it? The unrevealed truths. Many of you, friends, have learned to be skeptical of religious hierarchies. And rightly so, because history shows us that we haven't always been told the whole truth. Let's go back to the third secret of Fátima. What was really hidden? In 2000, the Vatican published the vision of the bishop in white who was killed. They said, it's about the assassination attempt on Saint John Paul II. But facts raise questions. Cardinal Ottaviani, who read the third secret in the 1960s, described it as terrible and concerning the future of the Church and a crisis of faith. He made no mention of an assassination vision. Sister Lucia wrote the secret on one page, about 25 lines. The Vatican published only the vision, a description of images. But where are Mary's words? Where is the interpretation that Mary was supposed to convey? According to witnesses, Sister Lucia spoke of the third secret concerning apostasy in the Church, and the loss of faith in Europe. In the published vision, the Pope dies. But St. John Paul II survived the attempt. If it's about him, the prophecy was not strictly fulfilled. Unless it concerns another Pope, a future one. Many theologians and researchers believe that the Vatican revealed only part of the third secret. That there is something more they did not want to tell the ordinary faithful. Some scholars suggest that the full content of the third secret contained difficult, uncomfortable truths about a crisis of faith within the Church itself, the deviation of parts of the hierarchy from true doctrine, a great falling away from the faith in Christian countries. Does this sound familiar? An institution concealing uncomfortable truths from its ordinary followers. Those of us who have experienced similar institutional opaqueness in the past understand this mechanism well. We must always analyze history with a critical eye. The question of fulfillment. We were told that Russia would be converted, that there would be peace. Let's look at the historical context following the fall of the USSR. 1991. Collapse of the Soviet Union. Communism falls. This is often cited as the fulfillment. Post-1991 Russia. Did Russia convert, in the sense of establishing peace and truly embracing religious freedom? 2008 War with Georgia. 2014 Annexation of Crimea. 2022 Full-scale invasion of Ukraine. State-church ties. A close connection between the state and the Orthodox Church, often used as a tool of political control. Does this look like a nation that has been converted, in the sense of bringing global peace? Does this look like the fulfillment of the prophecy of peace? Reflective tone. Or perhaps the Fatima prophecy is still waiting for its true fulfillment. Perhaps the absence of an explicit, official consecration of Russia means that Russia's errors continue to spread throughout the world. Maybe the Fatima story isn't over yet. Conclusion. Friends, we've traveled a long road today. From a small Portuguese village in 1917, through 2 world wars, the Cold War, an assassination attempt on the Pope, the fall of communism, all the way to the present day. What do we know? Mary appeared in Fatima and conveyed 3 secrets. The second secret concerned Russia and the need for its consecration. The third secret was hidden by the Vatican until 2000. John Paul II survived the May 13, 1981, attempt, which was historically linked to Soviet intelligence. No pope has ever visited Russia, despite attempts. The consecrations of Russia were ambiguous. She was never explicitly mentioned by name in the most relevant act. What remains a mystery, scholarly debate. Did the Vatican reveal the entire third secret, or is the interpretive text still missing? Was Russia truly consecrated according to Mary's request? Has the Fatima prophecy been fully fulfilled, or is it still awaiting realization? Are today's global events and conflicts part of Russia's errors spreading across the world? One thing is certain, friends. The Fatima story is a potent reminder that spiritual and worldly affairs are intertwined in ways we don't always fully grasp. It's a story of hidden truth, of a hierarchy afraid to speak plainly, and of a prophecy that may still be waiting for its fulfillment. And now, the question for you: what do you think? Was Russia consecrated? Was the third secret fully revealed? Has the prophecy been fulfilled? Write in the comments below. I want to know your analysis. If this material was valuable to you, please like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow and allows me to create more content like this. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, share this video. Thank you for joining me on this journey. See you in the next video.